Hey guys, my name is Casey Parrish, and my topic for today's presentation was how bullying affects the adolescent's mind and their future. What can you do if you know someone is being bullied? All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. What is bullying? Well, I've got some good facts here today. According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of bullying is a blustering, browbeating person, especially one who is habitually cruel, insulting, or threatening to others who are weaker, smaller, or in some way vulnerable, tormented by the neighborhood bully. Bully wasn't always a negative word, which is pretty funny. The earliest meaning of the English word bully was sweetheart. The word was probably borrowed from the Dutch. Later, bully was used for anyone who seemed to be a good fellow, a good old boy. Then for the blustering daredevil as well. Today, a bully is usually one whose claims to strength and courage are based on intimidation of those who are weaker. So, of those who are weaker, which really I hate that statement because a lot of the times it's not that people are weaker, it's they don't have the self-confidence to stand up for themselves out of fear, out of they don't, they're fearful of being humiliated, if they mess up their words, or of the people looking at them, and some kids, they just have never had confrontation, so they've never really had to deal with it. And, a bully kind of takes advantage of that, and it's not right. So, according to stopbullying.gov, there are 3 kinds of bullying that one could portray or one could be experiencing, which is verbal bullying, which includes name calling, inappropriate sexual comments, such as taunting one with that, threatening to cause harm, or teasing. And those are all done with, verbal messages. Social bullying, which is a huge one in today's society, leaving someone out on purpose. Say, you have a group of friends and you guys are going on a trip, and this trip was planned, but at the last minute you're upset with one of your friends, so you decide they can't go because you're upset with them, and that would be leaving them out on purpose. Telling other children not to be friends with someone, spreading rumors about someone just to hurt them, or embarrassing someone in public, public shaming them. And social bullying could also be, really its main platform could be social media as well, but also in school too. Physical bullying includes, anything done physically, such as hitting, kicking, pitching, spitting, tripping, pushing, taking or breaking one's things, or making mean, rude hand gestures. It got to the point, my oldest teen, he experienced bullying in school pretty severely, and it got to a point where there were kids that would throw stuff at him, and it was terrible, and we had to take certain steps to fix it, but we got through it, and we found out some, the child that was doing it was dealing with some things at home, and so it's not always one-sided, but these types of bullying can be really harmful to one's self-esteem if not taken care of. So, how is bullying and cyberbullying defined in Kentucky? Anti-bullying laws and regulations. So how is it defined in the laws? According to the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, ASPA, Kentucky anti-bullying laws include the following Definition of bullying. Bullying means any unwanted verbal, physical, or social behavior among students that involves a real or perceived power imbalance and is repeated or has the potential to be repeated. Number 1, if it occurs, it's on the school premises, on school-sponsored transportation such as buses, or at school-sponsored event, such as like a pep rally or football game, or if it disrupts the education process. So if any bullying occurs in these situations with then the school is responsible for enforcing Kentucky state law to take care of this and make sure it stops. Make sure that the children who are doing it are, if needed to be, disciplined in some type of way, whether that be, what's it called? The detention or being expelled. Like it depends on how severe the bullying may be, but this is very important that the school takes part in this, and the teachers know how to take steps in taking care of this. So who can be affected by bullying? Anyone really. It can be a victim, and sadly it can happen throughout one's entire life. I mean, even today, me being 32 years old, starting a new job, I could experience it. Pyramid Healthcare reported on a survey bullying in 2015, which stated 20% of high school students were bullied on school property 12 months before the survey, and that was done in 2015. So I'm sure it might have, it's sadly it's might gone up. I would hope it would go down, but I don't know for sure. So and then also 16% of high school students said that before that same survey that they had reported some kind of social media bullying, so electronically. And it has been proven that bullying can seriously affect a teen's mental health, whether they are the targeter or whether they are the target or they are the aggressor. Further research has found that bullying does have a lasting psychological effects, and what that means is it could really play either way. It could go, like, if you are the person who is doing the bullying and say later on in life that you continue to have that behavior, eventually it's going to get you in trouble because you're going to end up physically hurting someone or mentally hurting someone, and that could lead to consequences. And you could end up doing jail time. So or if you are being you're the victim, and this has affected your self-esteem growing up. Your brain is still growing, and we develop confidence throughout a lifetime of lessons and accomplishments. And if we are constantly being beaten down through a bully, then your brain is taking all this in, and when you become adult, you don't have the self-esteem that you could have without that. All right, so what are signs to look for as a parent or as a counselor? Definitely, if your kid is saying they do not want to go to school, they are sick more often than normal. So like I said, my oldest son has been bullied, and we spent a good 2 or 3 weeks where he would cry the night before. And this was when he was about 13 years old. He did not want to go to school at all. It was terrible. A group of boys, 3 boys, were being very mean to him about his weight. And needless to say, he has lost the weight now, and he's doing really good. He's in some sports, and he's gotten his self-confidence back, but it took some major steps. It took me to intervene with the school and the teachers and the kids, and I'm glad that I did, because he's healthy now. So I'm getting off topic, I'm sorry. So in extreme cases, your teen might be hurting themselves, and in that case you definitely need to seek help. Counselors, hotlines, websites, anything you can think of to help your child. Not wanting to use the bathroom, or your teen racing home every day to use the bathroom. My youngest is 7 now, but when he had started first grade, he wasn't very good at wiping. I don't know if any other parents have that problem, but he would wait to use the bathroom, and he had said because he was scared to use the bathroom, and because he took longer than normal in there, and the teacher made a big deal about it. She didn't realize that's what he was doing, and another boy had laughed about it because he was waiting. And so but I had to explain to him it's okay, you can. So we got that taken care of. But sometimes avoiding unsupervised activities in areas, the bathroom is the main place where sometimes the teachers aren't there, and so the kids, teenagers, they tend to spend time in the bathroom bullying others, getting upset after a phone call, text, or email. If your teen is on the phone or on social media and they all of a sudden they start crying, or you can see their facial expression has gone down, you need to ask them and be involved in that. Losing a friends that they previously had. So say your child is in 7th grade and most of their friends were in 8th grade, and the next year comes where they're in 8th grade and their friends are no longer there, and they're somewhat of a loner. That could be a situation where kids tend to bully them because they're singled out. Being more isolated and skipping activities that they used to enjoy, and spending a lot more time alone in their rooms. Well, I mean, everybody's doing that right now because of COVID, but hopefully we won't be doing much more of that once we get back to life how it was, and since we've got the vaccine, so hopefully, so it's kind of hard to use that one right now, but making negative statements about themselves and engaging in negative self-talk, that is a big one that can show you that a child or a teenager has huge self-esteem issues when they're constantly putting themselves down, saying they're not worthy, saying they're not beautiful, this or handsome. This could definitely be a telltale sign that they have had a situation where they don't feel worthy and not believing in themselves. So those are some main signs to look for if your child or your client is being bullied. What are the psychological effects of bullying? Pyramid healthcare websites suggest bullying can cause anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia, academic success, self-esteem issues. These could all be affected. What they mean by academic success is, their grades could start to just diminish. If they're constantly focused about what they're looking like, what they're smelling like, they're sitting in class and they can't focus because they have anxiety and they've been up all night with insomnia, they're going to start to develop headaches and their academic success is going to suffer. Adolescents who engage in bullying are in increased risk for substance use, academic problems, violence to others in adulthood. Now that's what I was talking about. If you are a child or a teen who has bullied many other kids, then you could take that into adulthood with you and end up in jail. So it could affect both sides. Extreme bullying can cause someone to commit suicide, and it's sad, but suicide is one of the leading causes of death nowadays, and it could be prevented with just a little connecting with others. Long-term self-esteem issues and physical harm to oneself. So those are the effects of bullying. how to handle the situation where your child is being bullied, or in this case, as a counselor, your client. Parents and teens who are being bullied should sit down and talk about the situation. So definitely, as a counselor, we want to let the teen talk about the entire situation, make them feel heard, validate their emotions, anything they are feeling, let them speak. I mean, it is not right. We do not want to put any reasoning behind anything. We just want to let them feel heard and feel what they felt. So and then explain to them that there is no excuse. There is no excuse for anyone to be treated this way. Explain the teen's strength in coming to you, and that you're glad they told you about what's happening, and ask your teen how they handled it and what they have done in coping with the situation. And if they had positive aspects of how they coped with the situation, show them praise. Definitely, we want to show any way that they positively handled themselves. So say that a child was bullied in class, and they turned around and said, "I don't like the way you're treating me. Can you please stop?" And that is appropriate. They didn't lose their cool. They have to stand up for themselves in some way. I'll go right back to my oldest. One of the situations he was in, the teacher had told me that he had seen the kids bullying Nathan and waited for Nathan to speak up for himself before. I shouldn't have said his name, but waited for him to speak up, but he never did. And then so the teacher finally stepped in and said, this is not right. But and then so when he got home, I had confronted him about that, and I was like, why didn't you stand up for yourself? And he said, I thought if I would just ignore them, they would leave me alone. But we've got to teach them, it's okay to say it is not right. Can you please stop? It's okay. He was scared that it would cause worse confrontation, but I explained to him, I said, the teacher's there. The teacher's not going to let you get hurt, so yeah, he handled himself well, and eventually, and any time where they do that, we've got to show them praise. What to do when talking isn't enough. It's important not to lose your cool as a parent. So I know as a parent, I wanted to rush in there and, hurt anyone who was hurting him, but we can't do that. So if you're bullied as a child, try not to personalize the situation. And that's kind of what I was doing when I wanted to rush in there and be protected mom. Don't retaliate against the bully or the family, that is not, you're not going to change their attitude, but they can be disciplined through the right authorities. Coach your child on how to react. So definitely tell them it's okay to stand up for themselves. They need to stand up for themselves, and explain, just stop doing that. They don't have to use physical harm. They don't have to get in a fight, but they should in some way react with a stern, self-confidence, and say stop. Find a teacher, administrator, or counselor that can help with the situation, and let your child know they are loved and there is no excuse for what is happening to them. If you know a teen is suffering from bullying, what should you do? You should get support. Find something your child is good at and to build their self-esteem. Let your child in school know that the Kentucky law prohibits bullying and action must be taken for the behavior to stop. And find a local counselor to speak with if it is hard for them to express their emotions to you as a parent. I know it was hard for my child, so we ended up getting him into Centerstone in Kentucky, and it really did help him being able to talk about his emotions and feel validated. Local organizations that help. You want to call 911 if you're in an immediate risk or harm. And if you know the teen is thinking of suicide or self-harm or having any thoughts of feeling helpless, make sure you call a suicide hotline or the one that I've listed here. According to stopbullying.gov, the steps would be to first contact the teacher. Then, if that doesn't work, contact the school counselor and meet with them. Definitely you want to sit down. I know when I did, we met with the teacher, the counselor, and the principal, and which that ended up working for us. But if that doesn't work, then the next step would be to call the school superintendent and then the State Department of Education, because it's very important that the school makes sure that they are taking the steps to enforce those laws of Kentucky or whatever state you are in. If you're a victim of cyberbullying, make sure you don't respond to the forward or forward any cyberbullying messages. Keep evidence for the cyberbullying and force that and take screenshots and send report it to the service providers. It's very important that they know what's going on. I know Facebook, they will make the person who's doing the bullying, they will shut down their profile page for a couple of days or however long, and make sure you block that person in the future so they can't tag you in anything. What are the main reasons someone might bully another person? According to verywellfamily.com, there are 7 reasons. Power. Teens who want to have control or power tend to bully others. Popularity. Often teens can manifest a higher social status through bullying. Revenge. Some teens tend to want to pay back the bully who had bestowed upon them the bullying and seek retaliation. Problems or with kids at home that are battling abuse, they definitely want to take their pain out on others. And pleasure, some teens get bored and they do it for entertainment. And then prejudices, some bullies or some teens are bullied for the differences they portray, which is terrible. And then peer pressures, teen that bully just try to fit in to impress others, which it would kind of be in the same boat as pleasure. So, well, there you have it, folks. Here's some resources and citations I used for this presentation today, and I hope that you learned a lot today. Thank you.